Knock you the fuck out right now, bro. You ain't wanted round here, bro. Fuck up, what you doing round here, you dickhead? Your town. Ain't your fucking town. We don't want you round here, bro. You're a racist, bro.
What have I said that's racist? What have I said that's racist?
Most people who grow up somewhere and leave don't go back with a camera crew and an Australian politician in tow. But Luton isn't like most places, and Tommy Robinson isn't most people. What happens when he brings Pauline Hanson through his old streets is either a warning to her or a provocation, depending entirely on where you're standing when you watch it. And what happens in the first 60 seconds tells you everything about how the town feels about the man who grew up in it.
I just said, because the lads have pulled up who work there, I've done my community service in there.
Are you serious?
I was washing plates in the golf club.
So what's it like for you to be back here?
I love Luton. I used to want to always fight for Luton. Luton has shaped who I am. Luton's part of my identity. So today, but this has been a long time. I haven't been in Luton for a long time. I haven't gone through town. So today, Pauline Hanson's over. She's leading the polls. She's destined to be the next leader of Australia. So she's foreseeing a lot of the problems in the UK that are on their way to Australia. So she's come over. I'm going to show her my hometown. We're going to go for a drive through the Muslim area. We're going to look at how Islamified it has become. I'll talk how quickly that's happened.
When Tommy returned to Luton this week for a walk around with Pauline Hanson, both he and the Australian journalist didn't expect what they met. He notices the rapid decline of his once beloved hometown because of mass Islamic immigration. Pauline's about to get a glimpse of what Australia could end up like if left to rot as it is. Hopefully Aussies vote her party in to stop the rot.
It's all changed, and then we're going to go for a walk through the town centre.
How excited are you about travelling around Luton? Nice easy question.
I don't know what to...
Before he's even properly started the tour, before Pauline Hanson has had a chance to take in her surroundings, a local man is already in Robinson's face, threatening fire and brimstone.
You're a dickhead, mate. You're lucky I don't knock you the fuck out right now, bro. You ain't wanted round here, bro. Fuck up, what you doing round here, you dickhead? Your town. Ain't your fucking town. We don't want you round here, bro. You're a racist, bro.
What have I said that's racist?
Bro.
What have I said that's racist?
You've got a big grin on your face.
What?
You
Go knock out it. Do it then. Do it then.
You're a pussy. I've already smacked you one time before. You don't
When did
remember?
you smack me
You don't
for?
remember?
No,
don't remember?
Yeah? Come on, what are you going to do?
You little fucking tomato.
Look at you. Where are you from?
Imagine the irony. The man who was born there being told by someone else that he doesn't belong there anymore. There is definitely a foul-mouthed racist in this video. And it's not Tommy. A pork sausage calling Tommy a tomato is genuinely one of the more surreal moments in recent street footage. Offended by everything, ashamed of nothing.
From fucking planet Earth, you dickhead. Where are you from? Where are you from?
I'm from Luton, mate, my town. So my council opened a shop to convert the whole town to Islam. My council. The Labour Council went to the opening of this shop, celebrated the opening of this shop. This shop was open 2013. And they had to close it. So when they were opening it, I done digging on Yusuf Bonner was the manager's name. And I've got videos of him saying he won't rest until Islam is brought into every home in Luton. And then I set up her Islamic profile and started messaging the group, pretending to be a Muslim. And I got proof that Abdul Rahim Green was one of the main people behind this shop.
The shop eventually closed, but not before Robinson had dug up the footage, set up a fake Muslim profile to infiltrate the group's messaging, and traced the operation back to Abdul Rahim Green, a figure well documented in British counter-extremism discussions.
Ask some questions.
No, not today, bro.
We can't ask questions?
Sorry, not today.
What about if there's a politician that likes to ask some questions?
Not today, sorry.
No questions?
Sorry.
No questions. So this is Discover Islam. So we went to ask questions. They don't want to answer questions. This is a jihadi centre, yeah. No, you're from Luton?
No, I'm from Luton, yeah.
Born in Luton?
No, I'm not born in here.
Where are you born?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm born in Guinea.
In Guinea? How long have you been in Luton then?
Luton?
Yeah.
5 years.
5 years?
Yeah.
Did you come on a boat?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is where our biggest problem, so the terrorist group used to have a pace table here every Saturday. So there'd be 30, 40 jihadis here every Saturday just recruiting. What do you think of the demographic?
I'm gobsmacked because I wouldn't think that I was in England.
Yeah. How are we, lads? Hello, boys. How are you doing? Are you Deliveroo? Do you deliver food? Where are you from, bruv? Has Luton changed? Luton changed for the better or the worse?
Absolutely for the worse.
For the worse.
Whether you think Robinson's methods are legitimate journalism or vigilante research, the shop existed, the council attended, and the manager said what he said on camera. The Discover Islam Centre is next.
To be honest, it's a bit crowded.
A bit crowded.
How long have you been here, living in Luton? When did you come to Britain?
2010.
Have you seen the change here in Luton over that period of time since you've been here?
To be honest, it's just getting worse and worse.
What's it like in Luton?
Shithole.
Shithole.
To get to this stage, do you blame your governments for allowing it to get to
Of
this
course,
stage?
of
Right.
course.
Where you from?
I'm from Pakistan, Baba, yeah.
How long you been here, bro?
14 years, you can say.
Legally.
They are told no, not today. Even with a sitting Australian politician present, questions are not welcome. That detail alone is worth sitting with. An elected foreign politician, accompanied by the press, refused entry to a centre that operates on a public street in a British town. Hanson's face says it all. She's absolutely gobsmacked.
That Tommy has actually done this for many years, and it was great for Tommy to be out on the streets amongst the people he loved, and we can see how much he was greeted positively by so many people here who recognise the great work he has done. But yes, let's agree there were a few people here who disagree with Tommy. They believe he's a racist, but the important part is they were allowed to justify why they believe he's a racist, and we can see from the footage that
The street interviews are the most revealing part of the whole tour, because the people Robinson speaks to aren't his supporters. One man, 5 years in Luton, came on the boats. Another, in the country since 2010, says things have got worse and worse. A Pakistani man, 14 years in Britain, blames the government for letting it get this far. These aren't people being coached. They're being asked whether things are better or worse, and they keep giving the same answer.
Right, bruv, how are you?
Alright, how are you, man?
I'm alright, man, how are you?
Thank you. Picture which is right there.
Of course not, bruv. And these are our diversity barriers, okay? If we didn't have Islam, we simply wouldn't have these, okay? These will pop back up any minute, right? Because these are to stop cars ramming all the people.
Well, I've just moved out of Luton.
Hanson then cuts the tour shot with her verdict. This is not Great Britain to her, and she is going home to protect Australia from ending up the same way. All the government should be in jail for letting this happen to this country.
I definitely don't want Australia to become like this. So anyway, this is not Great Britain to me, and that's why I'm going to...
Good luck, Pauline. Aussies are backing you. But to understand why Luton matters so much to Robinson personally, why he keeps going back, why it's the one place that makes him visibly emotional, you have to go back to the beginning. Because this town didn't just shape his politics, it built the argument from the ground up.
I think we should start from the beginning. I want to hear about what it was like to grow up in Luton in the 1980s and 1990s and 2000s, because I think that without understanding that, no one understands who you are or your political views or even your activism today.
And I also think that where the public have shifted, the problems that I spoke about growing up as a child, and when I started talking about the problems in Luton, they were confined to towns like Luton.
Right.
They're not now. They're widespread across the country,
right,
and people can see them in their own towns. So then they're realising, damn, many of the things we spoke about, which we were called liars for, or fear-mongering, or exaggerations, like the rape gang scandal, we were talking about that for 20 years, and no one wanted to believe us. Now they realise we were telling the truth. But just so that any of your viewers understand, I was born in 1982. Luton, we don't pronounce our T's in Luton, but Luton is 30 miles north of London. Okay, it's a working class town. It's labelled as probably one of the roughest towns in Britain. It's a lot of poverty. But when I was born in 1982, we had one mosque. We now have 45. Yeah? So, and Luton, sound posh saying that, Luton is a blueprint for every town.
When Robinson was born in Luton in 1982, Luton was a working class mixed place, the kind of town where everyone knew everyone, and the social glue was football and the pub and the factory. By the time he was an adult, the number of mosques had more than quadrupled.
The demographical change to Luton, the problems that come in Luton, they're going to go on in every town and city. And that's what we've been trying to warn about. It's Luton today, is your town tomorrow. You can ignore it if you want, but it's coming. You can move out of Luton if you want, just come in there in 10 years. Yeah? The demographical change in this nation, which has been accelerated through mass immigration, open border immigration, weak cowards as government, no one willing to address this issue. Even now, Nigel Farage won't address it. He doesn't care about the demographical change to the country. So he doesn't care if white English become a minority. Well, white English are a minority in Luton. And as I said, it's a blueprint. But so you understand growing up, and I want to make something clear. You spoke about the United Arab Emirates. Just so people understand, some of the best people I've met in my life are Muslim. Some of the people I love are Muslim. Yeah? Luton, growing up at school, some of those wonderful and best people I've ever met, yeah, are Muslim. That doesn't change some of the problems that come from the Islamic culture and community. Doesn't change it. So some people try and argue, oh yeah, but my kebab shop worker or the taxi driver I had was a lovely bloke. That doesn't prove Islam's going to be good, okay? So the changes you see, when I grew up, when I went to my junior school, it was different. But when I went to high school, in our area of Luton, we had buses full of Pakistani Muslims being brought up to the high school, yeah? Now, Luton, my mum was an Irish immigrant to Luton. When my mum come, it was no blacks, no dogs, no Irish. That was what was on the. That was the shops. Yeah, and the Irish community were in one area of the town, and then there was the Muslim community, but the Muslim community compared to all the other communities, there was no integration or assimilation. And I only realised this when I went to high school, because when I went to high school, we had St. Lucians, Jamaicans, Bulgarians, Italians, Indians. So Sikhs, Chinese, we had everyone,
His concern isn't with individual Muslims. He said it repeatedly and consistently that he has friends who are Muslim, people he grew up alongside and trusts. His concern is with what he describes as a community that systematically did not integrate. Not because its members were personally hostile, but because the doctrine they followed actively discouraged it. That's a specific claim about a specific ideology, not about the people who follow it.
Every immigration. But straight away at school, the Muslims were just all together. For example, you had the Muslim playground and the non-Muslim playground. Luton's division was never through race, because white and black was like this. Yeah? Luton has as a youngster, I was elevated towards the football hooligan scene in Luton. As a young working class kid, I went to football and lads would meet up on a Saturday and have a boisterous day out of the football. But Luton's football hooligan element was very diverse. It's all whites and blacks. Always has been. So the older generation from me that I aspired and looked up to as a kid, it was white and black men standing together fighting on the terraces. Yeah, that's why. So Luton's never had, and I never experienced it, any racism. I never saw racism. It was, if there was ever trouble, the whites and blacks would be together and they'd be fighting the Pakistanis. And that happened at school time and time again. Yeah, and I explain it to people that if you just walk into the school dinner hall, go into any school in Luton, yeah, I guarantee you, when you walk in, you'll have everyone sitting together, and in the corner there'll be 10 tables of Pakistani Muslims. They won't even sit with you. We didn't create that as children. That wasn't us. And I never really understood it, if I'm honest, growing up. I didn't get it.
Whether you accept his framing or not, the broader phenomenon he's describing has been documented in academic research on parallel community development in British towns. The Casey Review, the Cantle Report after the 2001 Oldham and Bradford riots. Scholars across the political spectrum have spoken about how certain communities developed in ways that limited contact with the wider population. Robinson is not inventing this. He's describing his personal experience of a documented pattern.
Pakistanis were different. There was something very different about the Pakistanis. If you have a fight with one, you might as well declare war with the whole community. Yeah? If you have a fight with a 13-year-old Pakistani boy at school, when you get outside, there's 20 men waiting. And any lads listening to this around the country who grew up where Muslim communities are know the score. Yeah, they just stick together. They come from everywhere.
Makes them stronger.
Yeah, and it's a strong culture. It's a strong ideology. It's a strong brotherhood. In fact, it's filling the void of something that we've lost, which is why many people are converting to Islam. We can get onto that. There's some benefits of Islam. There's some things you should respect about Islam, about the way as a community it brings itself together. But there's a lot of problems that come from it that we must talk about. So,
is there any parallel with like Italian immigrants in America and the mafia, that they would move together to have some strength for an immigrant group? And they would do the same here?
Maybe when the Muslim community first come to the UK, this is what I understand, yeah? In Luton and towns like Luton, maybe they were targeted, maybe there was racism, maybe they were victims, and maybe they clubbed together and stuck together. Maybe, yeah? But when you understand, 2010-11, I was on solitary confinement. I spent 22 weeks on solitary confinement. And a Muslim outreach group sent me a Quran to try and convert me to Islam when I was in prison. And I opened up the Quran. I thought, right, I've never looked at the book. Let's try and understand this book. And I'll challenge anyone watching this to do it. Take the Quran and make a reference every time it says, do not be friends with Christians or Jews.
Robinson had to go through a long solitary confinement. He went through it systematically for 22 weeks, noting verses, tracking the internal logic, learning about abrogation, the principle that later revelations supersede earlier ones. What he found, he says, was the intellectual framework for everything he'd watched happen in Luton without being able to explain.
Just reference the verse and the chapter. And I started going through and I'm making notes and I had pages. And everything I'd seen my whole life just fell into place. I just looked and thought, oh my God. So all of these children are being brought up in their households from this big, reading this book, which tells them not to be friends with Christians or Jews, which teaches supremacy over Christians and Jews, which teaches total non-assimilation and integration. It's from this book. That's when I realised this is the problem. This is what's created, even if it wasn't violent, this is what's created the total Islamic ghettos. And I challenge journalists, again, I'll challenge anyone to do this. Yeah? Whenever a journalist used to come to Luton and interview me, when I set up the English Defence League, I'll get on to explaining why we've done that.
While incarcerated, he read passages that he interpreted as actively discouraging friendship with non-Muslims, as establishing a hierarchy between believers and unbelievers, as providing the theological underpinning for the separateness he had watched develop on the streets of his own town. And guess what? He came out of that cell and founded the English Defence League. That's the origin story. A man in a cell with too much time and a book that he found genuinely alarming.
Say to a journalist, okay, you go and find Muslims with non-Muslims. Go on, we're in the town centre. Go and find me any Muslim with a non-Muslim. You're not gonna. You might find them working together, but as soon as work finishes, just like when school finishes, it's the Muslims and it's the non-Muslims. You'll find whites with blacks. Every group of white boys will be with blacks. Every group of black boys will be with whites. Well integrated, well assimilated. Yeah? You won't find it. You just won't find it. Unless they're selling them heroin or selling them drugs or raping them, you will not find it. And that's just, and again, that's the truth.
Watching Luton turn into a nightmare it is today is infuriating and heartbreaking in equal measure. A town that was one thing and became something else, faster than anyone had planned for, and with consequences that nobody in power wanted to discuss until it was already too late to address quietly. How would you react going to your hometown and being told by a stranger you're not welcomed anymore?